We are discussing the haze in Delhi, which is not only thick right now, but it is so palpable that it resembles the aftermath of an apocalypse. Even buildings across the road were barely visible due to the thick smog that has enveloped the city for the past few weeks. Many parts of Delhi recorded their air quality in the hazardous zone on Thursday. Well, with a consistent and a persistent smoky haze blanketing the city for the third consecutive day, the AQI peaking its worst in the national capital, NewsX has come up with its special segment wherein we ask the Janta, you, questions relating to this particular predicament and situation. And let's in fact see what the public is saying when it comes to this kind of a pollution. It is a pandemic of sorts. Well, of course, on Statistically speaking, we are asking the question on a right to breathe campaign basis. The first question is, do you think pollution is making the national capital unlivable? Well, a whopping 83% of the people went on to say, yes, the national capital is unlivable. There is no point living in the city because all it's doing is killing your health. It is killing the health of your children. It is killing the health of your elderly. It's predominantly a factor which is compromising with the quality of life as well. Number two, would you consider leaving Delhi due to this menace called pollution? Well, 35% of the people said yes, they would want to leave Delhi. A lot of people, up to 60% of the people, said that they would not want to leave Delhi. Of course, that is an obvious response to this question. A lot of these people, most of these people have responsibilities, jobs, things to do, and plans to in fact concretize in Delhi. Number three, what do you think is the main cause of pollution in Delhi? Of course, vehicles, cars and buses is 38%. Firecrackers, somewhere around 8%. Stubble burning is somewhere close to 23%, and others, which is of course things such as construction and faulty roads, is also a big apparent reason. But the number one factor that pollutes the city is of course cars and buses. But we've had cars and buses in the capital for decades now. It never was this bad. It is of course the parali that burns in and around Delhi, in Punjab predominantly, and UP and Haryana, that results in Delhi being basically this dystopian post-apocalyptic city for more than 2 months. Do you think stubble burning needs to be stopped? A whopping 66% of the people said yes, it needs to be stopped. 24% of the people said, well, it should be. It should not be, and of course 8% of the people were on the fence. We're not really sure that if this is going to be of any consequence when it comes to the pollution in Delhi. Well, the stubble, as we all know, is burnt in Punjab. There are no solutions available to the farmer at this point in time. Some of them have been implemented on test basis, but they haven't produced the kind of results that would relieve Delhi of this menace. Number five, what are politicians? Why are politicians not taking effective action to curb pollution? A, afraid of upsetting farmers. B, busy blaming each other, 22%. Not a political issue for them, 37%. And 24% of the people said that is perhaps not on their agenda as well. I'm going to rope in our guest. Joining us at this point in time is Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Also joining us on the show is Padma Shri, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, who is the MD of Nephron. Ambassador Mukherjee, I'm going to come to you first, ma'am. Well, here we are once again. You know, if I can say, this is deja vu to me. We had a similar discussion last year as well, hoping against hope once again that things would change, but they really haven't happened. Why isn't pollution being treated for the pandemic, for the problem, for the menace that it actually is? It stunts growth in children. It can lead to heart attacks and lung infections and complications for the elderly. People who already have heart conditions or are asthmatic cannot survive in Delhi for more than a few hours without a purifier. I don't know, I'm not sure how good they are because they're not scientifically tested. The politicians continue to blame each other. They issue more statements when it comes to the liquor gate scam than to the pollution gate problem in Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal, when he came to power, he wanted to clean up the Yamuna. He wanted to, in fact, make Delhi like Singapore. Well, in fact, Delhi is not even like Delhi it used to be when he became the chief minister.
Absolutely, Vineet. I was born in Delhi, I was brought up in Delhi, and I remember we used to look so much forward to those wonderful winter afternoons where you would sit on the terrace of your house and drink in the blue skies and the beautiful sunshine. That is all gone, sadly. And there are a number of factors responsible for the situation we are facing today. Some of these factors are external and some are internal. Some we can do something about, some unfortunately would need intervention by state governments. The stubble burning definitely, along with very low wind at this point, traps the pollutants. On the other hand, we do have a problem about not being able to control internal pollution. And for a change, we perhaps need to look at other big emerging countries, developing countries, how they cleaned up their act. It was not so long ago that Beijing was worse than Delhi, but they were able to deliver and clean up their pollution. So I guess we need to do the same. We also need to understand that short-term solutions, like for instance, telling people, ki, please don't start your car or stop your car at the red light. The problem is too acute for these kind of uh, small-term solutions. We need to take major measures. Some have been already taken, but sadly, they don't seem to be having much effect. For instance, the ban on diesel gensets. Uh, it's not been implemented properly. The construction sites are carrying on, and a lot of construction is going on, which is very bad for pollution, including the cutting of marble, etc., which spreads the dust. And also, we have two very distinguished doctor colleagues on the panel, but I would say that it would be wise for everyone in Delhi when they go out to wear a double mask. I do that. I don't have an air purifier at home, Vineet, but I certainly do use a double mask when I go out anywhere in Delhi. And I have tried to go for my morning walk with a double mask at a time when the pollution to me seems to be less. Uh, this is all that I can do. It's my hometown. I'm never going to abandon it. I'm here till I die. I feel very sorry that we've come to this situation. And I agree with you that politicians, particularly the Chief Minister of Delhi, needs to do something about it and take some measures, come on television, reassure the nervous public, and tell us what he intends to do about it. Because this is really his call. He's the Chief Minister. He needs to tell us what is he going to do about it. Vineet.
Right, Dr. P.S.V. Rao, Consultant Surgeon, Manipal Hospital, also joins us on the show, but I'm going to go to Dr. Bagai first. Dr. Bagai, what more do you think can be said and done about this problem which refuses to go? Who do you pin the blame on? And, what kind of a deterrence should be created against the people who are responsible for the health of people who are living in the national capital and the surrounding areas? This is equivalent to some subtle form of genocide.
Good evening, Vineet. Good evening, everyone on panel. And I wish the evening was a lot better than just being good evening. Delhi is a gas chamber. There is no two questions about it. This kind of AQI levels and PM 2.5 are incompatible with life. To say that it is hazardous is a cruel joke. We heard the Delhi Health Environment Minister coming and saying that how many good days of air quality we've had. Nothing can be far from the truth.
And sir, I also found that statement to be very odd and, not befitting to a politician who's supposed to be running environment in Delhi.
Yeah. So I think this is a comprehensive administrative failure and misgovernance as far as the Delhi government is concerned. Make no mistake about it. We know that the pollution has a direct impact on health. More than 29 body organs are directly involved. We lose more than 2 million patients or human beings in India annually because of air pollution, mainly in northern India. We have death rates of cardiac disease more than 5 million, strokes more than 2 million, cancers more than 4 million in the last 3 years. How many more people are going to just be put to death primarily because of something which is largely preventable? We have in Delhi, which is turning out more than admissible number of emissions, which are accounting for a huge amount of death. We know that this is directly related to vehicular pollution. The public transport for the last 10 years in Delhi has been in shambles. We know that the roads are barely laid and then relaid, and open dust areas are left to be put into the environment. We know that people, including the builders, the citizens, are felling trees. In fact, Vineet, I must share this with all the viewers. I individually have taken a group of people in Vasant Vihar, where I stay in Delhi, to court, and they have been held guilty for felling more than 500 or 600 trees. This is something which is damaging the environment. This is not fair for our next generation. Just let me give some very telling statistical figures which are in published domain in peer-reviewed journals, including the Lancet, including Cell.com. There is a direct linear correlation between PM 2.5, PM 5, PM 10, SOx and NOx, which is nitric and sulfur oxide, and including the other toxic gases, which cause a direct correlation with increasing cardiac arrest, hypertension, arrhythmias, intractable seizures, damaging the fetus, damaging the pregnancies, having stillbirths, infertility, arrhythmias, increase in cancers, increase in bone disease, affecting mental health. The children are devastated. They can't go out and play. Why have we elected this political brass? We have elected them to govern. Now, if they can't do it, either they should resign and go home. And we need a proper, transparent committee which is led by environmentalists, scientists, and doctors. I would expect that the Delhi government to actually come out and give a public advisory. This is a public health dire emergency. To say it's hazardous, it's crossing 900 AQI, PM 2.5 in so many different places in Delhi, is crossing 450 to 500 mark. How are citizens going to breathe? We are going to have a huge toll on mortality and morbidity in the next few years. And I dare say the time has really come to wake up, open our eyes, and act now. We need to implement, we need punitive punishment for the guilty, for the offenders. The building norms, the construction norms are being flouted very, very, very openly. The civic authorities are not implementing what they should do. And I think the Delhi government, including the Chief Minister, should come out, give a public health advisory. And I think it will be wise for a couple of days, people work out of home.
Dr. Rao, what do you make of this? This is, a collective responsibility of the people of Delhi, but more so it's the collective responsibility of the people who have been voted in to run Delhi. If they are not able to provide, the resources as well as the ecosystem in which an environment, can be made conducive just to breathe, they need to go.
Good evening, Vineet, the panel members and all your viewers. I have also, like Ambassador Mukherjee, had my entire schooling in Delhi. And I can see the difference between what Delhi was in those days, I'm talking about the 1960s, and what it is now. A lot has changed. And there was a lot more greenery at that time. The amount of greenery has come down. Construction activities have gone up. And the thing in India is that we don't have these prefabricated constructions. So a lot of this construction activity goes on inside the city, and it leads to a lot of dust and pollution. And as to stubble pollution, I have a small suggestion to the government. Instead of giving MSP to rice, which was the reason why the farmers switched from millets to rice in Punjab, and then you landed up with this problem. Offer them MSP on the stubble, convert it into biofuel. You have now, the government of India has started a international biofuel alliance. So this stubble is excellent for that. So provide MSP so that the farmers find it profitable to take out the stubble and give it for biofuel manufacturing. That is as far as stubble is concerned. As far as building is concerned, as I said, I think more prefabricated structures would help in reducing the dust. Recently in Bangalore, L&T made the first post office which was printed. It was, you would have seen that news, and the post office, which was actually printed, it was not all this dusty problems. It was printed with liquid concrete. So there are technologies which can reduce your dust from this source. The third source is the car and all these buses and which are producing exhaust. Now, as far as that is concerned, I'm very happy that something which had been questioning various people involved with automobiles as to why hydrogen gas can't be directly put into the internal combustion engine like you have CNG, etc. being used. I am very happy that Tata Motors have started 2 research centers last week. You would have seen that news also in Pune, and one both for hydrogen, one for the fuel cell, and the other for direct into the internal combustion engine. The problem with the electric vehicles is that the the rare earths required for it are all monopolized by China. Secondly, there's a lot of pollution involved in various places with the manufacturing of those batteries. Those batteries are more than a ton and they have their own issues. So I see a future for electric vehicles basically with 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers and not with the 4-wheelers. And if this hydrogen technology can be developed and fast forwarded, it definitely will be a major advance, I feel personally, on this issue of exhaust. And this are the 3 major sources which are thought of. And then you have this coal-fired electric generation. I think that also can be replaced with the also in industry, in various steel industry and others. But I remember from my childhood, the power plants in Delhi used to put out a lot of smoke. So if whatever industries are polluting the air, even those things can be looked into. The technology is available for most of these things. The point is, like Dr. Bagai said, governance. You need to implement it. That is where we are not having any progress. If the government really decides the technology is available, the finance is available, the intent is what is required, and real progress on it. And as far as the damage caused by air pollution, Dr. Sanjay Bagai has already listed it. It is very well known. The amount of extensive health issues connected with air pollution. I am aware of a few people who have shifted from Delhi to Bangalore mainly because of their breathing issues and the air pollution there. Not that the other cities in India don't have a air pollution problem. But
Dr. Rao,
Delhi,
pollution has also reached Mumbai now. There is no Parali problem there.
Yes. And as far as your statement that someone wanted to make Delhi like Singapore, remember, Singapore every year has an air pollution problem due to forest fires in Indonesia. Every time there is a forest fire in Indonesia, each year there will be severe problems of air pollution in Singapore. Just similar to our stubble burning problem.
Okay. All right. Well, what he was trying to say is perhaps the infrastructure of the national capital should in fact be as good as Singapore at this point in time. Ambassador Mukherjee, why do you think Delhi should continue to live and breathe the way it is doing right now? And let us not forget that Delhi is the representation, or rather the representative of the country at large, the 5th largest economy, perhaps going to be the 3rd in just a few years. Vishwaguru, the custodians of G20 until last year. Is this befitting for a country that is looking to scale heights such as the ones that we have already scaled and the ones that are to come?
Well, certainly not, Vineet. I understand that most cities all over North India are highly polluted. The ratings go up and down. It makes very depressing reading. So this would mean that most people who live in North India, not just in Delhi, but all over, and now also my friends in Mumbai are facing this problem. So let us focus on the issues relating to Delhi. First of all, there have been some very good suggestions made by my two colleagues here in the panel. Um, we have to tackle the problem of stubble burning. That's because it aggravates the problem. Secondly, some of the bans which are put in place, like for instance, a ban on firecrackers, which is a total ban all over Delhi. But every morning and evening, I am woken up with the noise of firecrackers. Then I wonder where they are coming from, and then I'm told that there is a black market for firecrackers, and people have gone outside Delhi and bought up firecrackers, which means that the public too, beneath, apart from the local government, the public has to be educated about the need to take measures themselves to reduce pollution. This is something that each and every person living in Delhi has to be sensitized to. These are just small issues that I'm highlighting for you here. The other is, of course, the problem of perhaps encouraging people when the pollution is very bad to work out of home. Let's say for when the pollution level goes up to, when doctors say that it is like being in a gas chamber, it is better to then perhaps say that please work out of home for the next 3-4 days until the pollution levels go back. I remember that during the lockdown, for instance, I had never seen the sky so blue in Delhi, and that was only because there were no cars driving. Now we cannot be in that situation. It's not good for the economy. So we have to look at measures by which we can control the pollution, but not have an economic slowdown. So that is why it needs to be very intelligently thought out, and the public too have to be made aware that each and every person has a role to play in controlling pollution in Delhi, which is why programs like yours, Vineet, are so useful, because they also help to sensitize the public as to the great danger to public health and the fact that each and every one of us can make a difference. Vineet.
Dr. Bagai, what can we do? Should we just keep ourselves locked in the house? Should the public burn their money on purifiers, which has of course become a huge industry to counter this problem? No country, no modern country in the world today is relying on purifiers to breathe.
I think it's very unfair for our aged and for our younger children who are living in Delhi. Remember that small kids and infants go to school in the wee hours of the morning, where the fog and the smog and the temperature is at the densest and the worst. The pollution is really bad. Just 3 or 4 important points. I think parali burning has to be banned. You cannot find excuses for this misery. Point number 2 is, I think Delhi needs a smarter and very aggressive public transport system. We need more digital tracking of the congested areas. Likewise, in most other Western countries, it is being done to decongest certain areas. 3 is, we need very strict and punitive action for people who destroy the environment, especially felling and cutting of trees. And 4, more importantly, is road dust and construction norms have to be adhered to. I think these are small measures, so to say, but it will have huge impact on the ground. And hopefully we should have a cleaner and a safer Diwali in the next week to come.
Dr. Rao, what solutions do you propose?
Other than what I have already mentioned, like prefabricated structures, about air pollution due to automobiles and buses, and stubble burning, which I suggested an MSP for that, and use for biofuels. I would say that they should. I remember when I was in Delhi, they used to, in winter, all these fallen leaves used to be all swept and burnt. And people would also burn paper and plastic, etc., to keep themselves warm in winter. Now, I don't know if that practice is still continuous in Delhi. If it is continuous, that again, public education and this should be stopped. Actually, all these fallen leaves can be used for composting rather than burning and to get rid of them. The other thing is, you spoke about air purifiers. The best air purifiers are the nature's trees and plants. increase the green cover. Here in my place, I have surrounded myself with greenery years ago. And this is something, it's not that I am in some farmhouse. I am in the heart of, I am in the urban area of Bangalore. But every bit of space, including on my roof, I have greenery. This makes the air much cleaner. The plants and trees are far more effective in cleaning the air pollution. So if you are talking about air purifier, I would suggest more greening of Delhi. Like I mentioned, Delhi was very green when I was in school there. But now I find that the amount of greenery has come down, and this is something for all cities to increase the green cover. And rooftop gardens can be encouraged. Lot of balconies, you can have greenery, and you would have seen images of vertical gardens in many buildings, even in India, that has come in. So these are all various ways you could reduce air pollution also. These are further suggestions. Yes, Vinit.
Right. Ambassador Mukherjee, what about the politicians? How are they to be held accountable? You know, there isn't a deterrence for them, right? There is no fear of the law or fear of public outrage for them, because if there was anything of that sort, they would be doing their jobs.
But that, Vineet, that is also something that we, the citizens of India, are responsible for, because we need to make them accountable, and we need to make them understand that if they don't do something about it, they will pay a price for it in the next election. If we don't do that, if we don't link pollution with good governance, the lack of pollution with good governance, then we are also to blame. That's why they just talk and give lectures, and sometimes the advice they give is in very poor taste, actually, or very foolish. Maybe they need to have physicians and doctors on their advisory panels to tell them what to say. But we need to make them accountable. And in a democracy, the people make politicians accountable, which means that the people must speak in one voice and say that they are accountable, and we should make them accountable. If we don't do that, it's going to be the same story year in and year out, until we reach a stage of development where the kind of issues which have been highlighted here today, stubble burning, etc., disappear, because we have moved to technologies which do not involve stubble burning, etc. That's going to take some time, but if we want to leapfrog, then we need to take measures. I don't see that happening in the near future. Vineet.
Dr. Bagai, concluding thoughts from you, sir, and then we wrap up.
I think the citizens need to be sensitized. Very clearly, the government should give a public advisory. This is a national health emergency. These kind of pollution levels are incompatible with life, as I've said. More importantly, I think the citizens need to be more aware. We need to be protecting our environment. And more importantly, in the end, is we need to make the politicians accountable. I dare say there will be class action suits against the Delhi government very soon with the amount of people who are dying. It's unfair, it's unacceptable, and I would say this kind of pollution level is largely preventable. I'm not saying even for a second the pollution has to be zero, but that is impossible to keep. But I think the pollution can become lower if there is proper governance in the state of Delhi.
All right, Dr. Rao, quickly, sir.
Required for all actors involved, those who are polluting and those who are governing and who have to sort out this problem. I think for both of them there has to be carrot and stick, and I agree. There has to be citizen action groups to call the government to action and to point out what all can be done. Plus, the public itself can contribute. Many of the cleanliness, like the cleanliness drive, a lot of the public can also contribute in reducing pollution.
All right, sir.
And this is what my suggestion is.
All right, sir. Appreciate you joining us, Dr. Bagai. Ambassador Mukherjee, appreciate you being here with us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.